Hi, I'm Dr. Sarah Hurvitz from the University of California, Los Angeles, and I am a breast medical oncologist. A patient diagnosed with metastatic HER2 positive breast cancer now has 7 FDA approved HER2 targeted therapies in their armamentarium. The first line approach, meaning the first treatment we give when a patient is diagnosed with HER2 positive metastatic breast cancer, is a taxane chemotherapy plus trastuzumab and pertuzumab. This is assuming that they didn't receive this in the early stage setting within 12 months. Patients who receive this regimen have about a 5-year median overall survival, meaning half the patients who receive this regimen are still alive at 5 years, which is a very good median overall survival when we look at the data over the past 20 years that's emerged for HER2 positive metastatic breast cancer. The second line therapy that we use right now is a drug called TDM1 or trastuzumab emtansine, which is the HER2 targeted monoclonal antibody trastuzumab stably linked to chemotherapy, such that the chemotherapy is specifically delivered to HER2 overexpressing metastatic breast cancer cells. This drug has been shown to be quite effective after patients have received trastuzumab and taxane chemotherapy, and this is the standard of care approach as of now in 2020, based on a study called Emilia. After patients have progressed on a taxane-based therapy with trastuzumab and pertuzumab, and then TDM1, we have a variety of options available to them still. There are 2 exciting new options that have just been FDA approved. The first one is trastuzumab deruxtecan, or TDXD, which is also known as DS8201. This too, like TDM1, is a HER2 targeted antibody stably linked to a unique chemotherapy that's very potent. Again, the chemotherapy is delivered primarily to those HER2 overexpressing cancer cells, thus limiting the toxicity that patients experience with this drug. There was a phase 2 single-arm clinical trial called Destiny Breast 01 that was reported at the end of 2019 that showed patients who received this drug, over 60% of them had objective responses in their tumors, and the median progression-free survival, meaning how long the patients were able to live with their disease under control, was 16 months, which is pretty phenomenal in this study where patients had been heavily pretreated. The median number of prior lines of therapy in the metastatic setting for patients enrolled in this trial was 6. So we don't usually see outcomes like this, and this led to the accelerated approval of this drug in early 2020. Another drug that's very exciting in this realm is tucatinib. Tucatinib is combined with an oral chemotherapy that doesn't cause hair loss called capecitabine and trastuzumab. So a 3-drug cocktail is given. And in the HER2 CLIMB study that again was presented at the end of 2019, demonstrated that when you give these 3 drugs, patients have a better progression-free survival, as well as a longer overall survival compared to patients who just received capecitabine and trastuzumab. What's interesting about tucatinib is it selectively targets HER2, so there's less toxicity than other drugs that are pills that target HER2, like lapatinib or neratinib, less diarrhea associated with it. And the other unique feature is that it crosses the blood-brain barrier. So it was shown to have activity in patients with brain metastases from the HER2 positive breast cancer. So very exciting results. We also have other drugs, including lapatinib and neratinib, also available. So a patient diagnosed now with HER2 positive metastatic breast cancer has a much better long-term survival expectation than we even had 3 or 5 or 7 years ago. And the outcome is actually so much better. I have patients who've been dealing with HER2 positive metastatic breast cancer now for more than 10 years. So in many ways, it's become a chronic, incurable, but chronic, highly treatable disease.